All right, pre-show shenanigans. This is the second year in a row that I've attended the very first preseason game for the Bolts Chargers. Second year in a row, I've gone to this game. And let's just start off with this, Everett. I'm extremely, extremely proud of Bolt Nation, of my Bolt family, for showing up to SoFi. So they always have this first preseason game scheduled as a Rams home game. And for good reason. There's no such thing as Charger fans. They don't exist. I'm one of 12. So for good reason, I understand.
Yeah, you and the two guys from last year that were like, this is a normal thing.
Yeah. Oh, I was crying laughing last year, sitting there during the Titans game. I'm next to someone and the guy's just like, we go up 10-0, 14-0 early. Immediately it's a tie game. And the guy sitting next to me is like, boys, sit tight. It's gonna be a long one. This is our franchise.
We're gonna this is diverging
totally
a little bit
about
from
that part too.
This is diverging a little bit from what we're gonna actually talk about in the pre-show. Well, how do you think that guy's response was when you went up 26-0, whatever the playoff game?
So, like, this is the thing about that. Like, I kind of brought it up before, but when the Jaguars scored that touchdown at the end of the first half, like, I knew
his words just replaying in your head.
Well, they were replaying before that. When we went up 27-0, I was actually more afraid than if we were up 21-0, because it's like, wow, now it's a 27-0 lead. We can choke. Literally, that was my thought process.
Possible. It wasn't possible 20, but
no NFL franchise other than the Falcons should ever be thinking like that too.
Well, like, the Colts last year.
Kind
of. The Colts were up 33 to 3.
But the Colts were the Colts, like at least the Chargers had a playoff hope last year.
Matt Ryan was on both teams. That's all I'm saying.
Well, Matt Ryan sucks nuts. All I'm saying. But I mean, I also just wanted to point out that prior to going to the Chargers Titans game last year, the only NFL game I had attended like in years, and I don't count this as my first NFL game, but it was between the 2016 Atlanta Falcons and the 2016 LA Rams in the Coliseum. You know what the 2016 Atlanta Falcons did. They went to the Super Bowl that year. At the time, I didn't quite realize it, but like Atlanta beat the Rams maybe 48-7 that day. And we watched Julio Jones and Matt Ryan just absolutely torched the living shit out of the Rams secondary. And like, I should have known after seeing literally the MVP play in person and Julio Jones that they were going to go on a soupy run, but I didn't make those connections at the time when I was in 8th grade. So didn't quite.
It was that long ago.
Yeah.
My God.
That long ago.
Wow.
So I didn't quite make those connections, but like, yeah. Anyway, for this Chargers-Rams game, I would say last year when I went, it was a 95-5, 90-10 ratio of Rams to Chargers fans. Now, at the time, it made a lot of sense. There's no such thing as a Charger fan. The Rams had just won the Super Bowl. Of course, their fans are going to show up for the first preseason game at home. However, this year, instead of a 90-10 and 95-5 split, Everett, it was only like an 85-15, 80-20 split even.
That's a decent amount of people, though.
80-20, but 85-15, okay? I was extremely, extremely proud of our fan base. I didn't think we'd show up like that, especially after an offseason where we passed on a literal, it might be a little early to call him a Hall of Famer, a little too early, but we really passed on Jordan motherfucking Addison for Quentin. Okay, so we'll dive into it. That's the real
point of the pre-show.
We'll dive into it more, but we can quickly mention it real quick. JSN is the best receiver in the class. Okay, we couldn't have even got JSN. I was heartbroken when JSN got picked before the Chargers. It broke my heart. However, we still could have came away with a better result for the circumstances we were in at pick 21. Okay. Jordan motherfucking Addison was on the board and we passed.
Yeah. Now, so how do you feel when he made a toe drag tapping catch the other day?
So first things first, I actually loved that it was preseason. They didn't review it and they called it incomplete because I want Jordan Addison to use that as fucking motivation this week. Okay. I want Jordan Addison to be pissed off in practice that they took away a highlight catch from him. Now it is preseason, doesn't matter anyway, but still they're taking away moments from the next star receiver in the making. Now, let's be honest, it's going to be hard for Jordan Addison to ever be as good as Justin Jefferson. He's had the greatest start for any NFL receiver to his career ever. It's going to be tough to top that. I'm going to be honest. However, him as their wide receiver 2, and he's locked up at minimum for 4 years. Odds are probably will extend him on that 5th year, even though they wouldn't want to re-sign him. But Jordan Addison and Justin motherfucking Jefferson is your wide receiver duo for at minimum 5 more seasons.
Also keep in mind Justin Jefferson.
28.
Justin Jefferson's what, 24, 25 right now?
I think he's 24.
So that puts
he was drafted
him at 29 years old when Jordan Addison's done.
I mean, and
5 more seasons.
I don't know. Justin Jefferson, when he signs his extension, it will be 5 years or 4? 4, right? Because it's not quarterback. Or
no, you can do as many years as you want. Like
for some reason I thought it was like only
most teams decide to do that because the longevity of the position, but he'll probably get a 5-year deal.
So Justin Jefferson will get 5 years. I'm not sure what the annual amount would be. I'd say at least 30.
I also could be completely wrong, but
I don't fucking know. But like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawk, who we saw put up phenomenal numbers in a KOC offense last year.
We'll talk about that. You know what?
I cannot believe it took Quentin Johnston.
Let's save this as a teaser for the actual episode.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a teaser for the episode.
We'll save. But just remember, can you please remind me to go over Quentin Johnston over the top fade catches and how there was one guy on the board, Jordan Addison, who makes those catches, and one guy who doesn't, which we took in the first round, Quentin Johnston. It's kind of ironic, whatever. Okay, I digress. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Waterboy Podcast. Today it is episode 143. NFL preseason week 1 just wrapped. We got a lot to break down. A lot of overreactions, maybe underreactions that we'll be going over. The Dodgers look incredible on an 8-game win streak, 12-1 in our last 13. Everett, and I know you don't care about this, but English soccer is back, and that's been taking over my life over the weekend. But
yeah,
Everett,
we're not talking about that one.
Let's start off with the MLB. Let's start off with Major League Baseball. I just want to say, both to you and the viewers, Everett, I apologize for even bringing up Major League Baseball when we are in football season. It is football season. When you step outside, you could just smell that feeling of football in the air. It's been a while since I've felt
trust me, I can smell the football in the air. Literally, it does not
feel it through the humidity. So
it does not
leave all 5 senses worked. You might truly be getting literally.
It doesn't leave me. I got my nice little shooter sleeve on today too.
Shout out our boy JF1. But yeah, so staying on MLB. Before yesterday, Everett, we had gone 4 straight games giving up at most 1 run per game. Lance Lynn has looked excellent as a Dodger. Clayton Kershaw is back, and Julio looked like Julio again yesterday. Everett, I can't believe I'm saying that. Now, Everett, maybe I'm being a little too optimistic here, but I almost feel better about this playoff run without being the overwhelming favorite going into the postseason. I feel
like that's better. We talked about this last year, how when the Dodgers are like in the shit, like when they think that like, they're the shit, they fall apart because they think everything's going to give in to them. When you're struggling and you have to earn it, that's a little bit different. I think this year,
edge on you, that chip on your shoulder.
This year, obviously at the halfway mark, the Dodgers were 3-4 games back. They were at a struggling point at one point in the season. So they've had to work their way up, and now obviously they are 8.5 games ahead for first place.
Yeah, 4 games back of leading the whole National League and getting that first round bye. So
can we just also acknowledge what a disastrous situation has become of the Diamondbacks in the past and month.
San Diego too. Even
San Diego, the Padres, we knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, the thing though is, despite Arizona being ahead of San Diego right now, all the metrics and databases have San Diego with a higher percentage of making the playoffs off run differential and Pythagorean. They're not going to make.
This is the only time. This is the only time you'll ever hear me
Are you gonna
applaud
shout the Padres a little bit over the D-backs?
No, fuck that.
Okay,
Fuck the Padres.
What the hell are we doing?
Fuck the Padres. This is the only time you'll hear me applaud another team in the division.
In the West, yeah.
How the Giants managed to do something with absolute dog shit, nothing on their roster every year.
It's unbelievable.
It's very impressive. I will give them that.
So one thing that I just want to say, like Gabe Kapler, he was a scout in our farm system, or he was a director of our farm system for a while under Friedman, and we let him go to San Francisco. He's now their manager, obviously, doing a pretty solid job over there now. Personally, Gabe Kapler and I, we have our differences. I've beat with him significantly in the past, but this season I respect the shit out of the job Gabe Kapler is doing with the team he has right now. Going back to that year 2021 when they won the division off of us, like their team was excellent. I actually think they had 13 hitters on their team with an 800 OPS or higher. 13.
Was that Chris Bryant's 13. Last year? Right.
Chris Bryant's
that was the contract year, and now he's
Chris Bryant, like straight up might have been the only hitter on their team with a sub 800 OPS. It was kind of ironic. But they also had 6 relievers with sub 3 ERAs that year. 6. Like what the Giants were able to do that year was unbelievable. The help they had both in the lineup and in the bullpen, and they had 4 starters with 3.4 ERAs or lower. That's just, I mean, you can't ask for a more deep, complete roster than that shit, what they put together in 21. Only issue is, though, Everett, after that year when we bounced the Giants, we forced Buster Posey into retirement, and they still haven't gotten that catcher position really filled out yet. So, yeah, it's a shame. Buster Posey's also, I think he's 33. Like, we forced him in retirement at 31.
Early.
He couldn't do that shit
early. He was like,
done.
Fuck
he
that.
was done with us.
Fuck that.
No more. I'm done. So
I can't deal with this anymore.
But
it's over. We're done.
Going back to the point, though, of last year, we had the most stacked roster. We were the overwhelming World Series favorite. And I felt like that added too much pressure.
No, we literally,
our lineup.
This time last year,
Justin Turner was our best player.
Yeah, but also this time last year, we literally stated that we had anxiety over the Dodgers having this,
massive lead,
favorite lead, all this stuff. And we were like, okay, the Dodgers don't do well when they're being, applauded and have like high expectations. They're expected to do great things, right? The Dodgers don't do well when they think that things are given to them or are going to be given to them. And now when they have to earn it, that's when we see good Dodgers. Yeah. But it's a give and take. Like honestly, the struggle of having the one thing what Dave Roberts that I'll give to him is that, I mean, everybody knows I'm not the Dave Roberts number one fan by any means, but
many Dodger fans aren't the biggest fan of him as well.
And I significantly hate the way that he manages playoff games. That's my biggest qualm with him. Regular season, I don't really care. Playoffs, I care. What he does, though, he's able to manage bad situations well when it comes to longevity in the regular season. He can do that well.
Yeah.
So
with season afloat.
With the way that the pitchers had been for a significant amount, turning that around and then getting the batters to turn around, even if it wasn't exactly at the same time, and then they finally reached at the same time. That, I mean, that's what turns seasons into championship seasons. So,
at the minimum, there has not been a point this season where both the pitching and offense became awful. Like when the pitching was going through their hiccups, we were still a top 3 scoring baseball team in the MLB, like still getting something done. But last thing I just want to say, though, about it overall, Everett, is that I feel like in years past, it's always the 1 through 4 that I keep on bringing up, where I felt like when we were going up against the Braves and Freddie was on the Braves, I'm holding my breath every single time Freddie's up there, knowing that he could go boom, boom. He could just get on base, extend the inning. He could rope a double, which is arguably more terrifying than other outcomes because they have a runner on, they keep the pressure, they're still rocking you. So I feel like this year, compared to years past, specifically from the mindset of the 1 through 4 hitters, that there is less pressure to get on base and perform. I felt like last year, and I heard this in interviews, Trey Turner was saying it, Freddie was saying it, because Mookie's hitting before you, Trey's after you, Will Smith is next, then Muncy, then Bellinger, a former MVP. There was so much pressure to just get on base and not fuck up and be the guy who fucked up in the lineup. I felt like there was so much pressure instead of performing to just not fuck up and disappoint the guys around you. But I feel like this year it's Mookie and Freddie are going up there to hit. They know how important they are to the offense.
No, and also
they're going to go up there.
I know
fucking hit.
I know that Freddie's leading the team in batting average. He's got the most, I think, RBIs and everything. But Mookie, for whatever reason, in the clutch this year, when it's his turn,
phenomenal,
disgusting. And I'm hoping what we need is that has to go through the playoffs, because it dies when we go to the playoffs. If that's there, then we're good. The other thing I just wanted to say, by the way, what a dodged bullet not signing Trey Turner has been.
Yeah, that was another move where I kind of thought there was no chance we were ever really going to re-sign him anyway. But it's just, in my opinion, all the things that make Trey Turner excellent are going to quickly drop off soon here as he approaches 30 years old. So in my opinion, what makes Trey Turner phenomenal? The base running, the speed. Start just with that. Phenomenal base runner, phenomenal speed, not the greatest arm or the greatest glove, but just having that speed, having that reaction time, it does help having a shortstop who can hover ground quickly. I understand that. The thing about Trey Turner, though, when you take like a deep dive into his hitting metrics, is that he is a significantly better fastball hitter than off-speed hitter, Everett. And as he gets older, hand-eye, bat speed, being able to rope those fastballs, it's only going to decrease as he gets older. His reaction time is just going to decrease. It's not like a crazy thing to say. So over time, Trey Turner, like this year, he's obviously not elite. If we did re-sign him, I think he would have had maybe 2 or 3 more elite years. We know the answer to that. It was none. But I thought it would be like 2 to 3, and then we'd be like, this is a waste of money. Happened earlier than we thought, though. But with Trey Turner, I just want to say, I still remember when we acquired Trey Turner, that was arguably the most happiest I've ever been as a Dodger fan. I love Trey Turner. He's one of my favorite
Mookie,
players.
not when we got Mookie.
That's different, but like, it's just like getting Trey Turner. It blew my mind. I never even knew that was a possibility with Seager out that year or coming back. Like it was just so foreign to me thinking that we could just pick up Trey Turner, who was so unbelievably important in the 2019 Nationals World Series run. So, but you're right. Long term, it was a horrible move. Thank God we didn't do it, despite having Miguel Rojas be the replacement. Go look at their numbers, Everett. Like, well, it's not that.
Keep in mind, we still got Gavin Lux coming back too,
and that's another thing. We did not intend on him tearing his ACL. In March. That kind of
though his rehab, he could be back for a playoff run if they want him to.
Keep him out. No, none of this shit. No rushing anyone back. I'm done with this. Last time we rushed someone back was Walker Buehler in 2021 when Max Scherzer was being a little bitch and he was like, "Oh, I can't start this game. Let Walker start." He hasn't recovered since. That was in October 2021. So yeah, a little 2 years ago about Walker. Take your time, brother. Take your time. No rush. 4 games back of first in the league. We're fine. But that's what I had on MLB. I really like not being that number 1 team. I think that'll help us out.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, you don't usually hear teams rooting against their team getting that first seed.
I'm not saying let's start losing.
No, but who is the Braves? Are the Braves number 1? Who's number 1?
Braves number 1.
Braves, just keep winning. Just keep winning. Just keep winning. Let us have the 2.
Home.
We don't let us have the 2. If we get the 1, all right. Maybe that's the Braves strategy. Is now they're gonna lose like 2 games. Let us win.
I mean, last year the Braves were the overwhelming favorite. Got bounced by Philly in their first round, technically. So
I mean, all right. College football.
Before that, Giants were the 1 seed. We bounced them.
Not a great track record.
Yeah,
not a great track record.
2020, we were the 1 seed and we won though. So, but yeah,
COVID year.
Yeah, doesn't count.
Okay.
On the college football.
College football. I got 2 things real quick. Both are related. This we've talked about this before with Pac-12 realignment, so this will be a little bit quick, but this is even more information on everything and what led to the dissolvement of what is now, I guess, the Pac-4.
Yeah.
So the Pac-12 had an offer from ESPN for $30 million per school in the fall of 2022. So last year.
Yeah.
Okay? The ESPN wanted all. They wanted to do it all. But presidents and chancellors of the Pac-12 wanted more than 30 million. They said they wanted 50 per school. ESPN said, adios.
So for reference, I don't have this exact number because it's changing, but I think like on an annual basis, the Big Ten teams with their $7 billion, now it's not worth $7 billion. It's going to be less. Things are changing. But at the time, the Big Ten schools would have received around $54 million annually for that contract. The Pac-12 wanted something comparable in the $50 million range for their schools, which obviously Fox,
marginally
NBC,
overestimating,
ESPN, they would not be willing to pay for.
Also keep in mind, by the way, ESPN, Disney, everything losing money currently.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Let's just say, now I don't know. I don't have all the answers, but ESPN now getting into betting, it seems to me, take advantage. Some user generated content revenue right here, where in my opinion, if it's up to Disney, like ESPN, like I've been saying this for a while, like that shit's getting sold off to Amazon or Apple. I'd say more so Apple than Amazon right now. I feel like Apple's showing that they're really, really trying to enter the live sports space, like with their deal with the Pac-12 and whatnot. Let's just say though that ESPN, I don't know what the long-term outlook for their platform is right now. There's obviously potential there. Like ESPN is still a highly visited website, still gains a lot of traffic. There's still ways to monetize off it. It's just from a public stock perspective, no more
content
growth.
is
so,
issue.
It's a little tough to invest.
So that's the background behind the Pac-12 dissolvement. I just thought it'd be interesting to get a little bit of context. Here's the other thing. Here's the bigger thing that I want to talk about. Besides one thing we both will be talking about later on in the college football segment. This is related to Tulane. This is related to Ole Miss. So Ole Miss travels to Tulane this year, week 2, for the final game of the home and home. We played the first home game in 2021.
Yeah,
it was at Ole Miss.
How exactly did that?
This was when we were stuck in Birmingham. It was our last game before the return to New Orleans. Played in the rain. It was not a fun game for us. That was Matt Corral last season there. Now, obviously, Tulane won the Cotton Bowl. We won the Cotton Bowl last year. We won the conference, right? We have started filling out the stadium. Like everybody's booking up. This the stadium we have, which I think is like 30,000 people capacity, like 38. Small stadium. It's booking out. It's booked out. This is what the Ole Miss athletic director had to say when talking about this. Okay. He was, quote, very frustrated and said, we only got 3,000 tickets. In the past, it was basically an Ole Miss home game in the Superdome. And that they will reevaluate the future of Tulane contracts based on this year. Now, to me, that is the most Charmin Ultra Soft possible explanation thing, whatever you could say as an athletic director. To me, it sounds like they're scared as shit to come play Tulane.
Making sure I have this correct. Ole Miss is saying right now, we need to have more pre-bought just Ole Miss designated tickets because they've already sold out for Tulane. Is that what they're saying?
They're saying that the allotment. So keep in mind, one, there's resale tickets. That's where the majority of the market is, right? Each school gets a select amount of tickets that they sell initially. Yeah. All right. So
what I'm saying is, does Ole Miss want more?
Well, one, when you're at a 70,000 capacity venue, you get more tickets, right? That's just how the allotment works.
I'm just talking percentage wise.
Two. The statement of, in the past, it has been basically an Ole Miss home game in the Superdome or Ole Miss home game in Yeoman, whatever. that's like, they're basically saying, oh, because now we have to travel on the road to a packed stadium in enemy territory. Like, it's not going to be our fans there. It's going to be the other team's fans there. We don't want to go anymore. That's what it sounds like to me. And to me, that is really soft. That's
yes, I do think though that like right now I'm guessing like Ole Miss wouldn't be putting out these complaints unless like the numbers are showing that right now Tulane fans are buying up the fucking tickets and that like
it's sold out
right now. Yeah. Okay.
Essentially.
So like right now on paper, Ole Miss and they're like, oh fuck, it's going to be a sold out. Like this is their game of the year. Like now they're thinking that they're like, oh fuck, shit, they're gonna be ranked 2. It's really gonna shit. You guys might get game day there. Not gonna lie, if you guys are gonna be ranked, like you really could get game day there. So like that's going to be a big ass game. I can understand Ole Miss's concerns, and if you know, as a USC guy myself, Jackson Dart's not the most inspiring guy at quarterback. So yeah, I'd be scared shitless if I was Lane Kiffin too.
It's just being like, yeah, now we don't know if we want to come anymore because we don't get like an easy cakewalk schedule against this team. We get like to make our money in an away game. We don't want to go anymore.
Assuming that this was not going to be a marquee matchup on their schedule. I mean, we know how the SEC schedule.
Yeah, no, they're like, oh, the first 5 weeks, we're gonna make it as easy as possible. They were
under the impression that this would be a free auto win for them, but no, that isn't the case anymore. But I'm with you. That is ultra soft. On right now, just on Vivid Seats, it's saying lowest tickets are $90 right now for Ole Miss at Tulane. I'm not sure what your prices are like, but like that seems like it's pretty expensive. So yeah,
I'm pretty like those are probably the most expensive tickets we've had besides the championship game.
Yeah, I can understand that definitely being number one, but like, yeah, those are pretty notable. So yeah, like I get that from Ole Miss perspective. Charmin Ultrasoft though, yes, you know my opinion. I also just kind of in general hate starting 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
The home and homes, you don't like the home and homes?
Starting. Well, the reason of doing home and homes, like when the college football playoff first started, the national perception was that the Big Ten was such a weak conference and that who cares if Ohio State runs the table? They're not as good as a 1 or 2 loss Pac-12 team or a 1 or 2 loss Big 12 team. That's what people were saying. Now, 5 years after that, everyone was like, oh shit, Big Ten's the second best conference. But Ohio State had scheduled these home and homes like during the 2012, 2013, 14 seasons under the impression that they need an out of conference win to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, Minnesota, by the way, just scheduled home and home with Bama, I think for like in 10 years from now.
Which if I was both sides, cancel that today because there's absolutely no reason to play out of conference games starting in 2024. If you're in the Big Ten or SEC, there's absolutely no reason to do it. You don't benefit from it. There's zero benefit. And one thing I'm concerned about for Tulane is they're out of schedule conferencing because I think it's unfair that the non-power 2 schools, you have to still schedule out of conference to get your respect. You still have to. It doesn't work both ways. That's why it's bullshit. If you're in the SC or Big Ten, you don't need to do it. But if you aren't, you have to, or else you won't get the respect by the national media voters. It's bullshit. And it's going to piss off a lot of college football fans. If your favorite team isn't in the Big Ten or the SEC, I'm sorry, but like you're going to get fucked year in and year out now.
Or if you're not them or Clemson, essentially. Even then, Clemson is, I mean,
to a degree,
like the big name,
they could be fine. And like Notre Dame,
the big name.
It's the big Notre Dame can go 10-2 now. They're not in a conference and they'll just get in. It's absolutely bullshit. Like, to be honest, under the playoff structure, Notre Dame, although they kind of have to go undefeated to get in, they don't have to play 32 games, just 12 games, get in. You're in no matter what. If Notre Dame ever goes undefeated, they're in no matter what. And they get a bye. That's just how it works. It's so stupid. It's dumb as fuck. But that's how it works. Anyone who thinks I'm like half joking right now, like you open up your eyes. This is how it works. Like there's clear biases in college football.
Do you have anything else on college football? I have one more thing.
Quick little recruiting update. So just want to start massive win Everett. the biggest recruiting pickup that Ohio State's gotten in years. We landed the number 2 long snapper in the class of 2024. So those special teams are up, baby. We got the number 2 long snapper in the country out of Texas. So we took him right out of UT's backyard, just stole him from A&M. So those guys are jelly. We got the long snapper, but in all seriousness,
has there ever been like a 5-star long snapper?
I think for a special teams player, I think there have been 3-star kickers, but that's about it.
I feel like there's been like a 4-star, but I think there's been 4 stars, but yeah.
Definitely 3-star kickers. Long snappers, maybe a 2-star, maybe. I doubt it.
Like you have to be like an athlete. If you're like an athlete, then yeah.
But still, I doubt it. I don't know though. I don't know. But the real news: 4-star edge Elias Rudolph from Florida has flipped from Michigan to Miami. This update came in a couple days after a rumor started circulating that Ohio State would flip current 4-star Miami edge commit Marquise Lightfoot, who Ohio State wanted really badly in the first place. Now, allegedly,
so they gave him a bag.
Allegedly, Lightfoot ended up committing to Miami under the impression that Dylan Stewart, 5-star edge, Ohio State's number 1 target at edge, would go to Ohio State. He ended up going to South Carolina, which I'm still personally investigating. So Ohio State missed on the number 1 edge target in the class 2024 in Dylan Stewart. So maybe they told Lightfoot, hey, the bag man came back and he re-upped the deal, bro. So come on through. We'll see.
Yeah, Cardale really went deep for that one.
Everett, I just got to say, after all the shit I gave Cardale last year, he listened.
He's actually a water boy enthusiast.
The fuck up in NIL. Like Ohio State, we're still missing out on recruits, but I'm happy that we aren't missing out on them because of NIL anymore. Which shit, maybe you could say that's a bigger concern, because how are you losing out on recruits if you have the NIL at Ohio State? But at least we have the NIL. That was like last year, there were some players that we couldn't even begin a recruitment with them because we didn't have the NIL. So at least we have that. But that's what I had on my recruiting update. I have my top 10 players in college football for the next season, but I'd like you to do, if you got something else college football.
I got one more thing. So this is making headlines. It's been in and out of the headlines for probably about a week now. If you haven't heard yet, there are significant allegations with Iowa State having players betting on their own games.
Just Iowa.
No, it's just Iowa. It's just Iowa. Not Iowa State. Just Iowa.
You know, the team notorious with the worst offense in college football. Yeah, those guys.
Yes. So with that being the worst offense, Arlen Bruce the fourth, right? Arlen Bruce, whatever. I don't care about the numerals. Arlen Bruce, who's a wide receiver for Iowa, is one of these players that have been accused. You want to know what the funniest part of this is, and I don't know if you've seen this.
I'm pretty sure.
So he's been accused of betting on Iowa games. He apparently scored
a wide receiver.
He's a wide receiver.
Plays on offense.
Is terrible. He apparently scored a meaningless touchdown that lost him one of his own bets versus Northwestern. It was an over, I believe it was he had the under. He bet the under 37.5 versus Northwestern, and he scored a last minute touchdown to put Iowa ahead 32-7.
Yeah, now I have not seen the clip of that, but shit, if you look back on that, and his celebration is a little tame compared to what you'd expect. I think we know why now.
He's like, shit, what did I just do?
My first thought, though, is like, before we get into my opinion on just betting your team under while being a member of that offense, we'll get into that. But just first, now it has been confirmed that a kicker on Iowa was also betting on Iowa unders. But I'm just going to go out on a limb ever and say there were more than just the receiver and kicker betting on Iowa team unders.
100%.
Go on a limb and say there were more. So Everett, let's.
So wait, no, sorry. Here's the big question.
Wait, Everett, if you are that receiver and you score that touchdown, how much hazing do you think he got in the locker room for losing everyone's bet and hitting the over when everyone had the under, including the offensive coordinator? How much hazing do you think?
Here's the question. Had? Actually, this is not much of a question. This is really the answer to all of our questions. Is the reason why Iowa's offense has been so bad because they've been betting? on unders.
Now, this is the thing. Like, Iowa's offense is truly like so bad that
that's the only explanation.
There's a chance that maybe it is a bit of a symbiotic relationship here where, a little bit of both happening. I genuinely believe, though, that Iowa offense was so bad, is so bad. Now, remember, their coach, Kirk Ferentz, his son, is the offensive coordinator, and Iowa fans on those forum boards, they'll let you know their opinion of their Nepo OC. And let's just say, like, if your players are picking the under and you are their offensive coordinator, you should be fired. If your own team doesn't trust you and they are literally putting money on the line, that's how confident they are in your failure. Yeah, you shouldn't be offensive coordinator for a Division I program anymore. Especially not when you're like known as the worst offense in college football. Like, forget in the Big Ten or the Power Five. No. In college football, the whole sport. So, like,
so here's the bigger question:
players fading your team should have been the final.
Is Cade McNamara going to be betting on the under this year?
Probably. And I wouldn't blame him because Cade McNamara is not going to play in the NFL. He needs to take advantage of all the money he can make right now while still playing.
Yeah, he'll say he got all of it. By the way, he got all of it because his family is an oil tycoon. All right, that's how he's going to get all. His family's from an oil tycoon. All right, it's not from betting.
Yeah, we can quickly dive into that too.
No, but you got to do your list first.
Yeah, we'll hit the list. But yeah, on a last little thing for Iowa, it's just, little friends. It's time to wrap it up. Your players are fading you with money. Okay, top 10 players in college football for the 2023 season. A lot of these are entering 2023. I would say, this is probably going into week 1 in a way. But yeah, you want to let's go 10-1. But everyone knows who number 1 is, so maybe we do 1 to 10. Everyone knows it's Caleb. 1 to 10. Okay, all right. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Brock Bowers, Drake May, Jared Verse, Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Dallas Turner, and Harold Perkins. A lot of edges on here. Good amount of tackles on there. Only 2 quarterbacks, just 1 receiver. Brock Bowers on there, who counts as a receiver. I might get some hate. Where's Blake Corum? Yada, yada, yada. Where are all these other things? I believe these 10 players, for what they do for their role, whether it's on offense, defense, blocking, you name it, what these 10 players bring to their respective position groups, that's what I was kind of more so thinking. So slight projections here and there with some of these edges. I mean, Dallas Turner didn't have crazy production.
Also, let's be real here. Honorable mention, Mr. Chat Bailey.
My bad, Chad.
Yeah,
my bad, dog. That's on me.
You can't do him like that. But also, with that said, like, the players that aren't mentioned, like Blake Corum, right? Blake Corum, we've already ranked as our number 1 running back for the season. Like, it's not
Blake
disrespecting.
Sucks.
It's not disrespecting him, but I mean, like, he's not there. So, I mean, coming off an injury too, keep that in mind.
And also, it's like, I guess unfair in a way, but not really. Like, certain positions, just what you do is a little more valuable. Like, if you're a quarterback, your job is a little more valuable.
The RB shade it's already back in for college too now.
I hate to say it, but it's just a little more valuable. But okay. That's what I had for college football. You want to dive into quick little Johnny Manziel take?
We talked about it the other week too. Up to whatever you want to. I mean, if you have something to say.
Like, after I have seen the Johnny Manziel doc and everything, one thing I just want to say that really stuck out to me was the perception of Johnny Manziel, like, and his dad, seeing how much money Texas A&M was profiting off of Johnny Manziel. Seeing that now, from that perspective, I totally understand why Johnny Manziel was so pissed. Like, I totally understand why he was so angry seeing them raise $740 million, saying how they sold 45 million Johnny Manziel jerseys and he got absolute none of it. and he's the reason that A&M even got that money in the first place. So like with that thought process, like, yeah, I'd be pissed off if I was Johnny. This is one thing I'm thinking about though, from a present day college football perspective now with NIL, with college football playoff, conference expansion, yada, yada. Johnny Manziel did so unbelievably much for the future of Texas A&M that I can't even like begin to really outline what he did for that program. So just first things first, they joined the SC that first year from the Big 12. They were mid-tier Big 12. They go 9-3 in the or 8-4, 9-3 the year one, beating Bama. All that shit, like that was literally the reason that they were able to fundraise 740 mil or whatnot. And that literally a couple years later down the line, we saw them go after Kyler Murray. He obviously left, hit the portal, but they were getting guys like him, Speedy Noyle and shit. They got that dude, Myles Garrett, pretty good at football. Like they're starting to now roll and pick up these recruits. And at the time, they got Jimbo Fisher, highest paid college football coach at the time when he signed. So like literally Johnny Manziel proved to the A&M, the actual oil money A&M boosters that, yeah, you can actually buy success in college football. First year that NIL was a thing, Texas A&M has the #1 recruiting class in the country. Go figure. Like literally Johnny Manziel was the framework to the A&M boosters. Like, hey, we can really do something. With
also,
football.
I mean, to be honest, for as much shit as Johnny Manziel did, that was like not great. And like the partying and everything.
Yeah.
His opinion on the NIL and getting paid and stuff.
Completely correct.
Completely correct. And on top of that, obviously he's trying to be like taking a step back. But if I was A&M and Johnny wanted it, I would offer him be part of the NIL program there, because helping out other players getting that kind of stuff. Like that kind of seems like something that he would be good at doing.
If he'd be interested in doing it. Like I after that documentary, seeing that, like first seeing just like Cliff's opinions on Johnny were hilarious. That Mississippi State game when he was like, yeah, Johnny showed up to walkthroughs on Saturday morning, hungover, sweating bullets. And I went up to him and said, you better fucking play good. Then he, quote, played the best game of his life. I was like, all right, like that's literal movie shit right there. Like that's some Friday Night Lights, like fucking Tim Riggins showing up drunk to the game type shit. Like that's literally what I've never seen Friday Night Lights, but like
I haven't either.
That's like some shit it was. So like, that's why I add on Johnny. I just want to say like must watch doc, regardless if you're interested in football or not, or college football.
Yeah, definitely. Really. Then go watch the Manti Te'o documentary right after that, because then you get the whole encapsulation of the 2012 season.
Yeah. I would
that's actually crazy.
I would start with the Manti Te'o because they reference the Johnny Manziel like Heisman shit more so in the Te'o doc than Manziel referencing. Yeah.
Kind of low blow to Te'o in that Manziel documentary. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, Colin Klein, my God, no one will remember him ever. Holy shit.
You'd expect Johnny Manziel to be like, yeah, I was up against that dude with the fake girlfriend.
So funny if you said that, but like, I mean,
okay.
Like, going into that, well, last thing I gotta say, going into it, I was under the impression that Johnny Manziel was by far the Heisman favorite, but like, dude, at a point, like at the time, no freshman had ever won. Like the year after Jameis was.
And what Manti Te'o did that season too, storyline, everything.
Well, Te'o would have been, I believe, the second defensive player to ever win the Heisman if he won it that year too. So like,
there was the first one.
Charles Woodson, but like there were some countering like things there, and like I guess the freshman or I guess
if Colin Klein won it, there's like can't do it,
riots.
Can't be first for
no riots. we would have revoked that year. Yeah, no, that would
just like they did it to Reggie Bush, free Reggie's Heisman.
Yeah, Ohio State should have won a natty that year. Oh well, okay, all right,
okay. NFL, this is what we care the most about, and to start, we're gonna go back to what we were talking about in the pre-show. Quentin Johnston, Vikings offense. You asked me to bring it back up. Quentin Johnston over the top fade catches versus the guy on the board who you skipped.
Yeah,
Jordan Addison.
Let's just start off with this. Like I was reading a lot of people online on Twitter who were like. Now I was shitting on Quentin Johnston. I'm like, dude, look at this. Ball hits he gets open. He actually got up on the fade route. God damn it. It's a shame the ball hit him in the worst possible place, right in the hands. Hardest place to catch a ball, right when it hits you in the hands. Am I right or am I right? But all these comments from Chargers fans were defending him like, that's a really hard catch to make. You can't expect everyone to come down with that. Well, I can't expect my first round receiver to do it, especially when a wide receiver taking a couple picks after consistently did it on tape. I mean, get me wrong. Don't get me wrong here. Okay. A first round talent, that's a lot of draft capital to invest in a first round player. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. You don't want to waste that pick. But also at the same time, Everett, because it's that first round pick, you want to go get upside. You want to go find your next franchise guy. So I understand a debate between looking at floor and ceiling, combining max potential.
So
with bust
you know what? Let's do this. You were there in person.
Well, real quick, Everett, what I just want to say, I believe Jordan Addison has a higher floor and ceiling than Quentin Johnston. There's literally no reason to select Quentin Johnston over Jordan Addison.
So let's say this. Let's say this. You were there. You were there for this game, for this first preseason game. Pros and cons of what you saw from Quentin Johnston, because you were tweeting during this game. You first tweeted, "Why the fuck did we take Quentin Johnston over Jordan Addison?" To which I was like, "Thank you so much. I'm so happy." And then later on, you're like, "All right, Quentin Johnston is the future. He's going to be the next great thing."
Oh, so, well, that was just he caught one touchdown. I was just kind of overreacting.
Pros and cons.
Well,
from the greatest football mind on the planet, by the way.
I mean, we drafted Quentin Johnston, quote, because of his yards after catch capability, what he can do with the ball in his hands. Now, we only got to see like 2 screens out of him on Sunday. They went for like -3 yards. So like, I mean, can't really take much away from it. But like, I'm still under the impression that Jordan Addison can actually go rack up more yak for you than Quentin Johnston. I'm still under that impression. I also believe Jordan Addison has better ball skills. Sure, Quentin Johnston's 4 inches taller than him. You know what else is different though? Jordan Addison can just create 3 yards of separation. So the height doesn't really matter. You know, it's kind of crazy how that works, getting open. I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong.
So this was supposed to be pros and cons of what you saw the game.
With the yak ability.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate you hyping up my guy because I mean,
it's just I don't understand any reason to select Quentin Johnston here.
So now, what if they picked
to replace Mike Williams?
What if they picked Zay Flowers?
I wouldn't necessarily be hyped on that either.
I mean,
I'm
not
too
my
high on
about
him
5'9"
Quentin
receivers.
Johnston. Like, this is the thing. If we took Quentin Johnston round 2, now okay, sure, I could get in on the upside a little bit. But it's just at round 1 with other guys on the board, with like a Nolan Smith on the board, a Jordan Addison on the board. I just don't get it.
I mean, Deontay Banks too was an option there for y'all. Nasir Adderley retired. Brian Branch was still on the board. Yeah, Joey Porter was still on the board.
Which, you know, debatable. But once again, camp doesn't matter. So I'm not that scared about him. It's just Quentin Johnston, I feel I just don't really see the upside here. Even if he does hit to what they think he'll be, I still think Jordan Addison has a higher ceiling, and I believe he's more bust proof. So we'll start with that. Second, just like route running and shit. He's just not as sticky as Jordan Addison. I mean, what else do I got to say? He just isn't. Being 6'4", it is harder to be sticky. What can I say? Next thing though, it's just like the catching. Like one of Quentin Johnston's biggest weaknesses is his like lack of catch dominance. Now, like, I'm not sure if that's what you want out of your 6'4" receiver, Everett, that he struggles with contested catches. Like, it's a little counterintuitive to me what it seems like what they wanted out of him. I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I think, unfortunately,
I mean, look, we've only seen one preseason game, and what I saw was not like great. Like, it was not like, wasn't like the best thing ever, but I wouldn't say that it was bad. He was playing against the 2s, to be fair. So if it was bad, that'd be concerning.
I don't know. I just feel like just watching what they did at USC, even Pitt compared to TCU. I mean, come on, guys, come on. I'd love to talk to this scout. I'm just so curious I'm so
curious. I mean, like, you know my opinion. I had him ranked as like the 5th best wide receiver in the draft. So,
well, that's what I had on QJ, really. I mean, I don't have many other major takeaways for that Chargers game other than my boy Cam Brown out of Ohio State UDFA balling out at corner. Played like 90% of snaps. My brother and I were shocked seeing him out there so much because he was.
How the line was it? Diane Henley, the linebacker from Washington.
Diane Henley was playing pretty good. He got a lot. I think he had the 2nd most snaps in the game, so he got a lot of PT. He was playing really well. Now, the whole show got stolen by running back, our big boy. Goddamn,
Isaiah Spiller.
No. Felton. Is that his name? Felton. Chargers.
The 2 tubby dude.
Yeah. Demetric Felton. He stole the show. Scored 2 touchdowns on like 6 carries for 90 yards. Stole the show. Darius Davis, 4th round, like punt return specialist out of TCU. He took a punt back in the 2nd quarter. He kind of stole the show too. Exciting seeing all that stuff. But like, you know, my biggest positive takeaway was just seeing some positive run game. It was surprising. I haven't seen that in a while. It was weird. Usually don't get to see that out of the Chargers. And I liked how Kellen Moore kept his foot on the gas end of the game. But that's all I had really for that. Do you have anything on Vikings preseason?
I mean, there's not really like the first and the biggest thing to say about the Vikings preseason, and what this was interesting was, so Ivan Pace, rookie linebacker, UDFA.
And he was projected to go drafted.
Keep in mind, rookie UDFA, his first season. In this game, he wore the Coach Kong green dot as the middle linebacker for the starting lineup. For me, that is a huge symbol. This is a new defensive coordinator. This is a rookie. Like, that is a big sign for how he's doing. And I've said this before, and I will say it again on this podcast. We can replay the clip if we need. I believe it's in the Vikings segment of the whole offseason breakdown that I had. My projection for the depth has been Brian Asamoah 1, Ivan Pace Jr. 2. And I just like to say that I believe that it's going to come to fruition. It looks like it's going to come to fruition. I don't think Jordan Hicks is that great of a player. He's a veteran. He's a presence. But, I mean, Ivan Pace has been really good. He plays bigger than he seems. He's 5'10". He's built out. But my man will go and he will get in there, shove off blocks, get to the tackle, run to try and make the tackle.
And he'll fill that shit quick and hard.
So, I mean, he was probably the player of the game. Jordan Addison looked really good for also being technically the wide receiver 1 for that game too. So like he wasn't really getting much help. I have a big issue with our third stringers. The third string O-line didn't. With the Vikings though, that is a problem. Like they were getting absolutely waxed. And Ed Ingram, our favorite guy, who likes to trip quarterbacks. He was the only starter, I believe, that started that game that got PT.
Seems like he might have needed that experience, so they were like,
it was better than last year. But it did not make me have faith. He got pulled after 3 drives.
Okay, all right.
And didn't look. I mean, he was still getting kind of pushed around by the second stringer. So. Not ideal. Yeah, that's not ideal. But I mean, we'll see more as the preseason goes on. I'd like to see that whole offense, like Kirk get a drive in. I'd like to see how everything meshes. Still had some issues on 3rd and 4th down, but I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
Growing pains. We'll get over it.
In other news, though, by the way, Bryce Young's literally gonna die this year.
Oh, yeah. No, that didn't look fun for him. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was my biggest takeaway of the weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to say anything about CJ.
They got their hands filled. CJ. I don't have many. Who cares? I couldn't care less about a fucking preseason game. Cares? Growing pains. Well, I also just want to say, it should be illegal to have a rookie have his first ever game experience against Bill Belichick. Should be illegal, but yeah.
Hey, you get it out of the way now. That's like the biggest learning experience you could have. To be fair,
it was first snap of his NFL career. The Patriots had 6 guys on the line, dropped 2 of them back into coverage. CJ had no idea what the fuck was going on. CJ had no idea what the fuck was going on. No fucking idea. He had never seen that shit ever at Ohio State. Never. So yeah, I understand. He was pooped his pants. He soiled himself up there. I get it. But last thing I just want to say about the preseason and everything, Everett, I had to bring this up. So just immediately remember what I just said about preseason, and take everything that I just said, throw it out the window. Justin Fields MVP season, mark it right here.
Yes, 2 screen passes for 90 yards. Really did it.
No, Everett. He threw 2 bombs. Okay, a combined 120 air yards on both passes. Absolutely 0 yak. It's cute. Everyone, you guys, all the haters on Justin Fields. Yeah. I mean, it's all right. You didn't watch the game. It's all right. It's all good.
Yeah,
it's all right. You're just a hater. Now, the people that watched the game and tuned in know that Justin Fields slung that bitch like it was prime 2020 Clemson. All right. Khalil Herbert somehow was playing slot and absolutely torched whoever the fuck was playing safety over the middle. Kevin Byard somehow got preseason PT, and goddamn. Okay. In all seriousness, no. After that preseason game, I'm less high on Justin Fields than I was before. I thought his pass to DJ Moore on the screen was really lackluster. I know if he did that at Ohio State, he would be running on Monday. So I grade Justin Fields a minus for that play, that touchdown to DJ Moore, for the Khalil Herbert play. Now, I give him an average to plus rating on that play. Kind of extend the play a little, not really. Didn't really do shit. But pretty much what I just want to say, that preseason game does not change my opinion of Justin Fields at all. If he went up there and went 0 for 30 with 12 interceptions, I wouldn't give a shit. Well, maybe if it was that bad, that's ridiculous. But if he went up there 0 for 5 with 2 picks, I wouldn't care. If he went up there and went 10 for 10 with 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, I wouldn't give a shit. I don't care until I see it week 1. That's when I'll truly make an opinion on if Justin made a step up this year. Same thing with everyone else.
Okay, so last couple of things we'll get to before I finish out with our list.
Other than Quentin Johnston, your ass.
First thing, you'll like this. So Sean Payton was talking about, he had a whole interview where he was like, in the first preseason game, I don't want to see any uniforms off after you're done playing. No sunglasses, no bucket hats, no interviews during the game.
Specific.
Yeah. So Garrett Wilson came out with a bucket hat on, his pads off, sunglasses on, and did an interview. Just want to say props for standing up for your OC, Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah, that's a big FU to Sean Payton over there. Little finger snaps, right?
Yeah, I just want to say, hey, Garrett's going to stick up for his guys. And I also kind of feel like with Aaron Rodgers coming on board, like if Aaron Rodgers likes someone in the organization, you have to also go out of your way to show that you like him, or else he'll just, kick you out.
That attitude's prompted. So, yeah. That attitude's prompted. The other thing, so Ravens streak is still alive, 24 games now.
Got close at the end there, but yeah.
I believe it started in 2016.
Yes.
On the counterpoint, the other purple team in the NFL, the Vikings, my team, have not won a preseason game since 2019.
Yeah, preseason doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. But the last preseason game we won was against the Cardinals in August of 2019.
Well, I blame most of that on Mike Zimmer.
Yeah, we were 3-0 in the preseason that year. So that season didn't go well. No, that season we made the playoffs. So
18 or 19?
19. 18 did not go well.
Was 18?
That was the season after the miracle. That was Kirk's first year. Okay. Last thing I have before that, Zeke officially a Patriot.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have anything we want to talk about for that.
As a former OSU guy, it's kind of sad seeing Zeke move on from the running back for America's team. One thing I just want to say about Zeke, though, that despite not playing for Ohio State in, I'd say 7 years now or 8 years, he has never taken the Ohio State Buckeyes out of his Instagram bio. Zeke is a Buckeye for life. That is my guy. That was my takeaway.
It'll be interesting how his knees do up in
New
England.
And emotions after his very last play on an NFL field resulting in that shit. So Hopefully, like mentally.
Hopefully Bill's like, yeah, dude, the selling pitch was you're not running center. Don't worry. I got you.
To be honest, it'd be really funny if his first day at camp, running back room, they get him.
That's how that's the hazing. They're like, all right, ready, break. And they're like, Zeke, bro, you're in the middle. Get up there.
Ramondre giggles a little bit. Zeke's like, shut the fuck up. You know how much money I've made?
Okay. So to wrap this out, we're going to do surprising keeps and cuts. We're going to do 49ers and the Bucks.
I think we should start off with the Bucks.
Okay. Here we go. Buccaneers, surprising keeps and cuts. Keep Sean Tucker, Kayvon Merriweather, Raheem Jarrett, Devin Tompkins, Kedrick Whitehead, and cut Luke Haggard and Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to Tampa Bay and just kind of their outlook this year,
it's a little bit weird.
Has it been confirmed Baker's the starter yet?
No, it hasn't been confirmed, but he did play the best out of the three quarterbacks there. What I will say is I have them projected based on, I mean, this was 5 and 12. A little bit after the draft. I have them projected as the worst team in the league.
Okay. Now, let's say you are a Bucks. Right now, you are their GM. Are you trying to squeeze out your value with like a Mike Evans right now?
If I'm being honest, they need to do full rebuild. I'm trying to get. It's also for Caleb Will. Like that's the objective.
Is Wirfs the only man who's safe?
Wirfs. They have Ryan Jensen's probably safe. Devin White. Fuck you. You're gone. Jamel Dean. They just re-signed. Yeah. Anton Winfield is safe.
Yeah.
Anton Winfield is safe.
But like Shaq Barrett, I think he's also had.
He's like 30, right?
Recently, and like they don't really want to re-sign him. Yeah, he is 32.
Yeah, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, both on the block. Tristan Wirfs not trading. Vita Vea, maybe. I'd probably put him on the block.
Probably get some value out of him.
They have Levante David still, Shaquille Barrett. I'd be trying, like for me, Anton Winfield and Tristan Wirfs are like they're not leaving. Everybody else, like, look, if you try to trade, I mean, Devin White now is probably staying because they didn't trade him yet. So he's probably staying. But if it was me, Levante David, Shaq Barrett, they just re-signed Jamel Dean, so they probably won't show him. But Vita Vea, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, get them all out of there.
See what you can get. Yeah. It's like, yeah.
If you think that though, like your competing players are going to be Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask,
this is another thing.
31-year-old Mike Evans.
Even if you can steal the division, win it this year, like, dude, who cares?
Let's also keep in mind, by the way,
is that the wrong mindset though? Like,
the division is ass. Clarify. The division is ass. Like, they do have a chance to win it if they play well, but like you're not gonna. The objective, every team's objective, is win the bowl,
win the Super Bowl,
and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl this year is Caleb Williams. So to win the Super Bowl,
I'm just interested. Like, I'm under the impression that you're better off tanking to one day get there. But I don't know. Maybe there's someone in Tampa telling them.
Let's also clarify.
We're not just make the playoffs and get lucky.
We're not saying literally objectively tank. Still try, but when
tank more so like trade away your lit players.
It's like in Dynasty, right? You're trading away your best players.
You can never tell your team to tank.
You're not objectively tanking. You're gonna if you win that week with less shit, that's fucking awesome for you. That's great. But you're trying to get stuff to build a better team, a better future. Like, I mean, if I'm the Bucks, if I'm I don't know who that GM is, but I mean, I'd be on the phone. Hey, you want Mike Evans? You want Chris Godwin? I mean, Chris Godwin's gonna be out with a broken finger in like 2 weeks. Like you want him.
Well, don't mention that on the call. Wait for them to bring that up. But
wait for that. He's past his physical. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. Just be like, we have his physical from 3 years ago. They're like,
you want that?
You dirty. You try to get us. We're like, we tried. We know.
But like also they've got wide receivers that they just got that are gonna be good. Rashad White's young. They've got a really young, like Cody Mock they just drafted, who's a guard. Tristan Wirfs is young. They have a young tight end. A lot of their defense is like mid-20s. They're still pretty young. Like, I mean, there's a lot of pieces to build up. You just need the quarterback mean, shit, if you trade away Mike Evans, you get Marv. Like,
well, I'm not sure they can get like a first for him or something like that. But like,
I mean, I don't know what the market for Mike Evans would be, to be honest. But
yeah, me neither. I'm not sure.
Mike Evans is a Cowboys wide receiver. Let's be honest.
Him and CD
and B Cooks. You got Brandon there.
Hey, that's Johnny Manziel's former receiver at College Station. So shit. But
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's kind of what we had on Tampa.
Okay. 49ers. We're going to wrap up with this. Our favorite team. Here we go. Pray to God you can trade Trey Lance. Keep Sam Darnold, Jordan Mason, Tyrion Davis-Price, T.Y. McGill, Chris Conley, Cleveland Farrell, and Ronnie Bell, and cut Danny Gray and Taco Charlton.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised seeing that they were able to get guys like Taco in there just casually, or like a Ronnie Bell and stuff. Niners next year, this is all I could think about. So recently it came out that John Lynch, 49ers GM, wanted to
hold on one second.
Fields.
Can I also just use this instead? I don't need to offend those that are religious out there. So just pray you can trade Trey Lance.
Oh yeah. So one thing I just wanted to say real quick, when it came to the Niners, that their GM, it has been leaked that he wanted Justin Fields, but Kyle Shanahan strongly disagreed and said Trey Lance. And
so what did Jim Harbaugh say to Kyle Shanahan is what we need to be asking.
Well, it wasn't that. Apparently, John Lynch was convinced of taking Trey Lance after Justin Fields' second pro day, where he performed very well in that pro day, but immediately after it was over the workout, Kyle Shanahan was immediately drawing up plays for Trey Lance on their flight back. So John Lynch was under the impression there's absolutely nothing I can do to convince Kyle Shanahan that.
Also, what I don't understand,
but
I know,
Kyle Shanahan is the man wearing the pants in that relationship, which I find very interesting.
I know Trey Lance is like the bigger body guy. I get that. And that's why everybody's like Anthony Richardson, because big body Cam Newton, right? But what can Trey Lance do that Justin Fields doesn't have the skill set for?
So according to Kyle Shanahan, Trey Lance, what he liked more about Trey Lance was his off-platform throwing ability. Also, Everett, kind of ironic, kind of counters what the media or narrative around Justin Fields is. But according to Kyle Shanahan, Justin Fields was too much of a pure pocket passer. Wait, how? He's the worst quarterback in the history of the NFL. Worse than Nathan Peterman. Can't throw a pass. Like, there's no way he's a pocket passer. He's a scrambling quarterback, right? No.
Also ironic,
just considering want to say for everyone out there, Justin Fields, about 5 games into his first season at Ohio State, he hurt his knee against Penn State. And after that point, there were no more designed quarterback runs for the next 2 years.
Also, just want to say too, by the way,
pocket passing.
The irony is also that even if they drew that up for Trey Lance, their quarterbacks since then have all been pocket passers, and that's when their offense has done the best. And also like Brock
Purdy is a pocket passer. It's doing well. Regardless. He was under the impression that Trey Lance can make off-platform throws better, and Kyle Shanahan says in his offense we have multiple fail safes in place for our quarterback if shit breaks down, where they have a hot route essentially to hit. And under Kyle Shanahan, he was under the impression that Trey Lance would give them another built-in fail safe.
And that makes sense.
Which I get the logic.
Except for the fact that there was a better quarterback that did all of that.
Whatever.
Keep in mind, by the way, that trade.
You know how much they gave up for Trey Lance?
They essentially gave up Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and Bradley Chubb. Not to mention the pick that the Cowboys then traded to the Eagles then traded to the Cowboys for Micah Parsons.
Yeah, so just think what the Niners could be.
Nick Bosa's and Micah Parsons, by the way, on the same D line. Oh my God, filthy.
Just remember, it could have been that at Ohio State if Kirk Herbstreit didn't take a picture with Micah Parsons. Just remember that.
But Micah Parsons, and Nick Bosa on the same D line.
And then the year after it would have been Micah Parsons and Chase Young.
No, I mean on the 49ers.
Well, that too. I'm just saying from the Ohio, like there could have been a Bosa and Parsons at Ohio State too. God, what a shame.
Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. New Instagram at the Waterboy Pod. Find us on the other platforms at Waterboy Pod. Follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett's Takes and at Waterboy Grant. Yes, it is still Twitter. It is not X. It is Twitter. Make sure to like, subscribe, favorite.
In about a week, we'll have to officially say X, but yeah.
Turn notifications on. Share with your family. Share with your friends. Spread the Waterboy love. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode. Waterboy's out.